This is the GGJ Podcast, a show about the games industry, the people who make them, and the communities that grow up around them. I'm Susan Gold, a game education trailblazer and one of the founders of the Global Game Jam. Each week, we sit down with a new guest, highlighting their own path and journey. This is a space for honest conversation from makers about creativity, collaboration, failure, and the messy, the beautiful reality of making games. So whether you're a young dev or seasoned, an educator, a student, or someone who just loves games and the people behind them, welcome to the GGJ Podcast. Take a breath, settle in, and let's hear directly from the makers themselves.
This episode is made possible in partnership with the Global Game Jam, the world's largest game creation event, bringing together creators from around the globe. A big thank you as well to the Global Game Jam's headline sponsors, Epic Games, Games for Change, and Xsola, for helping make this creative community a reality. To learn more and to get involved in the upcoming jams, visit globalgamejam.org.
Thorsten S. Wiedemann is the founder and artistic director of AMAZE, the International Arthouse Games and Playful Media Festival that has helped redefine how the world sees independent games. Under the AMAZE label, he has spent nearly 2 decades producing and curating festivals and workshops that treat games as a medium of artistic expression and cultural critique, not just a commercial product. So from its root in Berlin's bar scene, the events that came to become a maze in Berlin, as well as pop-ups in places like South Africa, Serbia, and Kenya, and beyond, he's built a global community all around experimental, subversive, and deeply personal games. Many of our audience also know Thorsten from the Global Game Jam. He was in the 2018 keynote, and his call was to get yourself out of your comfort zone, stay weird, bring your whole self into the games that you make. And that spirit of play, risk, and care runs through everything he does as a curator, as a community builder, and in the indie and art house scenes. Thorsten, welcome to the GGJ podcast. It is a joy to have you here, and we're going to dive into your journey, AMAZE, and the communities you've helped bring together.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be on your podcast. I really like to dive a little deeper into my story and also have a wonderful conversation. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Thorsten. So where are you joining us from today? And tell me, what do you do to spend your time, and what does a normal day look like for you?
Yeah, at the moment I'm in Berlin. I live in Berlin since '99, and I'm in my shop gallery. The shop gallery is something new what AMAZE created. It's a permanent space in Berlin, and also I have my office here. So I'm working from here. Today my day was more like drinking coffee, walking my dog, not doing so much, a little bit of calls, being a little bit nervous because of the podcast, so because I'm not doing it so often. But yeah, so it was a relaxed day. Yeah.
I know that feeling. AMAZE, for people who have not had the opportunity to attend, it's something out of this world. Why don't you explain what this festival is and give me a brief explanation, but we'll get into some more of your thinking and why
Yeah.
it came about.
Yeah, I think you can see it in 2 parts because AMAZE is basically it's a festival for games and playful media, but we advocate for independent games, art house games, and everything what is beyond. Artists exploring game engines, theaters exploring VR spaces, and all this kind of immersive experiences. You know, it's not just an event, it's not just a festival, it's really a label. And the festival is something we do annually in Berlin. So we have an award, we have a conference, we have talks. It's about 4 days festival. You have a lot of parties, networking. It's a wonderful event. And next year we're going to celebrate 15 years. You definitely should come.
Before you found AMAZE, you were doing things like talk shows and reporting at big events. What made you shift from covering games to building something like AMAZE and then creating a space for them?
It was a really long process. Let's start when I moved to Berlin because I just tried a lot of stuff out, all the internships, and was going into music, was going into film, was going into acting and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't know what should I do. So then I was just working in bars, constantly just bars, nightlife. So it was good. I really enjoyed it a lot. but it's not fulfilling. And then I was exploring doing talk shows, and I invited artists from Berlin, which I met in the bars where I was working, and yeah, just asked some questions like you do now. So just in front of an audience. And it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it, just like by doing something myself. So that was then the moment back in 2005. I invited one guy who was doing a magazine. It's called Game Face. And I invited him to be on this talk show and talking about games and playfulness. And then he was calling me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to San Francisco? Go to GDC." This was 2007. So we want to do an online TV thing, and you can do whatever you want. Just be in front of your camera and ask people questions. I had no idea about video games, really. I was playing video games, but I had no idea of the whole industry. And there I also met my editor, Michael Liebe. Through Michael Liebe, we were traveling the world. We were asking game developers and product managers and event makers and musicians in this kind of game industry a lot of questions, and it was great. So we've been to China Joy, we also been to GDC, we've been then in Berlin and also in Leipzig. So we were active in running around and interviewing people. And when we've been to China Joy in 2007, we were talking and wow, super cool. But somehow what is missing is the artistic part, you know? So we're just talking about products, not talking to the real developers, not to the artists. And I just remember when I was at GDC for the first time, I had already an idea, you know, because there was the IGF award and then mostly solo devs standing beside their games and just like all this kind of independent video game part I was not aware of. And that was fantastic just to discover. And then Michael Liebe and I were founding AMAZE back in 2008. And so we had a plan to celebrate the conversions of game, art, and other media. That was the tagline.
I
Was
love it.
the birth of AMAZE after all this searching.
So for youngsters, what was this scene like in 2008? What were you trying to do that didn't exist that you could figure out how to do at a bar?
So I had already some idea of organizing events, and this bar was very close by. It was the Kim Bar, and I was just asking the owner if I can do something regularly. And we started with the AMAZE Jump and Run parties, and we always displayed one game, and we had a DJ. It was basically it was it. And I was not so much in the industry, right? So in 2008, I was more with Transmediale and Ars Electronica. This was more like my crowd. But I was not aware that there is game developers in Berlin. I was just like, there's something missing and we want to bring it to Berlin. I was aware of the German game days, but I was not connected to nothing. I knew some companies, but of course, there was also in that days the mobile games, right? Mobile games or Facebook games, it was Facebook games. A lot of people did Facebook games, and it was free to play was a big thing, and definitely not in my interest. and then we just started. There were Transmediale people, media artists, some game developers, some students, but we started small with 50 people something in the evening, and we had a good time. And this we did a few times.
Well, hey, I think that one, it was about having this kind of conversation with other people and that evolution and seeing that a niche wasn't being addressed. I think it's very intuitive. And it may not have been where your first direction took you, but I have to tell you, you've done such an amazing job at creating something that has brought so many people together. When was the first actual big outdoor event?
The bigger event where we really were calling us as a festival, 2010, and Club Transmediale were helping us a lot to just like to create this festival because different locations, then bigger exhibition, talks, workshops, and all this kind of stuff was new to us. But then where we were really jumping on the indie game thing, it was AMAZE Indie Connect back in 2012. And everything was evolving, you know, because I was new to this world. That I'm very, very grateful that Marek Plichter back in the days were helping me out, also bringing me in contact. These are interesting people you should invite, because I was not aware that there is a community out there and who should we pick? Rami was for the first time at AMAZE 2012. Söberström was basically the keynote speaker. It was the year before he was bringing out Hotline Miami, and it was really exciting times. So, and I always try to mix it a little bit with media art so that they also been listening to something out of the box, something new to the game developers. It was a wonderful tryout, the 2012 event.
I think that's the one that I actually attended. And I played so many fun games and I had that interaction and that tactility. It was really a beautiful experience for me in that
Mm.
celebration of games. And the people that were involved, I really felt had that passion as well. How did your passion grow for games?
By actually doing the event. So we have, since 2012, we have the award. So that means that we have submissions coming in. And I play the submissions, of course. So I know what people are building over the years. But also I was always working with people together, asking questions and listening, because I think top down I couldn't do it, or I just had no knowledge about it. So I was always in conversation with different people, asking questions: is this good? Is this what we do? Is this the right direction? And all this built a passion in me, not just making the event, but also the passion towards games and also to the people and the community.
I love that. In the early days, what were your biggest struggles? And how did you know that you were going to make a maze survive? What kept you going?
Basically, I was always struggling. So as a bartender, you have your tips. Sometimes I was modeling or did some kind of other work, and I never had a real job. And basically, with AMAZE, I was building out a vision, having something I can believe in. And there was always struggles getting funding, especially because nobody knew about AMAZE. What is the goal of AMAZE? What is the vision? And just also to articulate that, because I also had to learn how to articulate that to different people. I also always been working with cultural institutions, but then game industry is a completely different talk. They have completely different expectations. Sponsors have different expectations. And I'm very happy that everything was grassroots, so nobody was expecting anything. So it was just building up, changing locations, changing style. And I think I always had wonderful people around me. The team, it's just wonderful to work with them and explore. It's something, there's no end, you can't make a perfect event. I also don't want to make a perfect event. I want to make more positive chaos. I want to create something where people also find themselves. And it's not like it's built, so there's the walls, and it will always be like that. There's always change. I love change.
Does it still feel like an experiment or more than just an experiment in Berlin? When did it become a part of the industry? Do you think that it really took its root? Because now I think that people focus on trying to get into a maze, and so it becomes a real like goal.
Yeah, I think AMAZE, for me, it's still a baby, right? Something I want to see growing. But for other people from outside, maybe it's this institution, it's this big brand. And it's not about me. It's not just about my craziness and my work. It's a lot about the people who basically are AMAZE. And AMAZE is more than just a person or a team. It's something much bigger. And the question of when the industry basically realized that AMAZE is a value to them, especially in Berlin. Medienbord Berlin-Brandenburg is our funder from the beginning on. It's a funding institution for film and games and XR projects, but also for visibility of what is happening in the city. And yeah, they trust us from the beginning on. Basically, since 2011, we are working together. The budget is getting higher and higher because our team and the festival and I have more stuff to fill, and suddenly there's another module, then suddenly there's another thing what we want to add, and then of course then we also need a little bit more money. But yeah, so I think the industry loves us because we are definitely different to all the other events out there.
That is for sure. Now, we mentioned art house games. When did you really embrace that label? What does that mean to you?
When I started with AMAZE, I was working with the Berlinale Festival, a festival in Berlin. And the competition, I think there's always select between 20 to 25 movies. And basically, these are not blockbuster. These are really art house movies. And For me, even when I had already this idea of art house in back in 2008, I think I really embraced it in 2016 or 17, where I really said, hey, we have to concentrate now on art house games because we want to have something what is challenging the perception of the player. So it can be political, it can be as well artistically new, unique, or brings two different art forms together in a digital, playful manner. And this is something what is very easy to communicate now because now people understand, okay, yeah, there are art house film, so art house games is similar. We have social critical things in there, you have political statements in there, or very much artistic expression. You have as well boring gameplay, maybe it's just emotion, and I wanted to explore. And this is something what is definitely creates a new target audience for games as well. Not everybody wants to be entertained. A lot of people want to be intellectual challenged.
Well, that takes me to your 2018 Global Game Jam keynote. That keynote was really a talk about putting your love, your anger, your doubts, your politics all into your work, and you literally got people moving together. What were you trying to say in that performance beneath the humor and the aerobics?
Mm. I mean, first of all, I was a little bit shocked that I was invited. Joe was writing me, hey, we want to do a keynote. And I was like, what? Why? Why should I do a keynote? I have nothing to say. I have nothing to add to game jammers who actually want to listen to game developers or artists or people who are actually big in the scene or did something great, made a wonderful game and everybody's looking up to or whatever. So I was like, just doing an event. Of course, I bring people together, but it was for me like, whoa, super excited because I also realized I can't talk about the AMAZE festival. This is super boring. I definitely can't talk about making games because I did game jams, yes, and I know how this works, but I was more thinking of let's really bring the people together. Just get everybody on the same mindset. And that was basically then the idea of making this aerobic thing. So I was putting open call. I'm looking for a choreographer. Then I wrote to Nomi, can you make the camera and do some animations in the background? And then when I got the choreographer, I booked for 2 days in the dance studio. I rented some cameras and microphones, and then we went there and shoot. And of course, in between, I was writing a script. And some people were reading it, if this is okay as well. So what I want to say.
One of the things that you had said in our keynote was a little more than just get out of your comfort zone. You're like, no master, no slave, don't finish your game. All those things are provocative for a game jam. How do those ideas connect to your broader philosophy about games and community and resisting mainstream pressure?
Yeah, Amaze is always and been and I'm always punk, you know. It's always like beep the mainstream and of course stay underground and punk of the digital age and all these kind of things are for me a liberation. So it's something you always can say what you want. Of course, it is always in the context, it has to be okay and fine, but don't be afraid to have an opinion. And this is something what I also wanted to give out to the game developers. And regarding getting out of the comfort zone, it's yeah, try out something. Don't be stuck in what you do already. When you're a coder, maybe go and be a game designer for this game jam. If you're a musician, maybe do the art. And
Well, I'm so thankful you got out of your comfort zone. Uh,
yeah, it's true.
it really, I
Yeah.
mean,
Also the
I,
costume. Oh my God. Yeah.
it was fabulous. I really, I feel that it worked very well with your personality. It not only that, but it also said a lot about the Amaze Festival without saying anything about the Amaze Festival. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It has this kind of wildness a little bit, but I think it also points out, you know, it definitely gives people, yeah, space. You know, space I think is very important that people really feel comfortable in what they're doing. And I think the Global Game Jam is definitely something where they can experiment and be with their peers. And also, I mean, don't finish your game. don't crunch, enjoy this experience. This is very important. Even when there is an award or something, it's not a competition. It's a social experience. You meet maybe new friends. Maybe you meet somebody with whom you're going to create a new studio, or maybe there's a game idea where people want to work together further. So there's no rush, I would say. So enjoy the time. Yeah.
I love that. Now, how about you? At this time in your life, where are you? How are you dealing with life, the expectations of a major event, and also trying to grow that event? How are you doing personally?
For me, it's really something I identify myself a lot with AMAZE. And personally, I grew a lot over the years. There was complete chaos before I started AMAZE. During AMAZE, there was also chaos, but I just had this feeling that I'm building something great, something what I really can be proud of in the end. And there was sometimes no sleep. There was sometimes just party. There was sometimes failing. But all in all, I'm very happy. I'm happy where I am right now.
That's good. Looking back at two or three defining moments in the history of a maze in Berlin, what do you think really changed its direction and its identity and your growth?
Um, 2012, we had this festival, HBC. So I think Amaze really defined in this kind of raw area where we had this huge beer garden, where we had the gallery, where we had the club, and everything was in one place. That basically defined how we want to operate and how we want to have this festival feeling. So you connect games with music and also reach out to other people, also having a raw exhibition experience. So everything was, yeah, with pallets, with scaffolding. We just used what we could find. It was really raw and punk. And then, of course, the team, it evolved over the years. We also had to change locations. And I'm very grateful as well that Lorenzo Pia went in. He was doing the program from 2014 to 2019 for the AMAZE Festival. He brought a lot of change in, like the code of conduct, safe space, things what maybe I was always running. And I always had people around me who also hold me back and said, okay, hey, we have to be a little bit more careful. We have to take care of that and this and that. And that was very good. So I think also in 2016 or something, we've been the first festival with the code of conduct, at least in Europe. And then 2019 was a killer year because then I wanted to have a big event, more people, but financially a disaster. So it was almost the end of AMAZE, and the community basically helped me with the Kickstarter campaign to get 50K, and that was actually saving AMAZE. So of course you can always balance it out and whatever, ask people to wait, but somehow there's still minus. I'm still carrying it because it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. It was completely failed from the financial perspective. I was expecting more people. I was expecting this funding. I was expecting more sponsors. Completely chaos because I was believing in something what was not real. But somehow I figured it out. When the Kickstarter campaign would have failed, then it would be definitely very complicated to rescue AMAZE. Um, but defined in an artistic direction, I would actually mention what happened in 2024, AMAZE Sheffield. My breach of code of conduct completely changed everything. How I see the team, how I see myself, how everything changed. Not the artistic direction so much, but personally, I changed and I needed to change.
I always look at it as personal growth, and you were very apologetic. And additionally, I feel that people heard you when you said, I'm sorry. And I think that's very important. And I think you've grown a lot from that experience and that you took on the responsibility. That's a lot.
Yeah, but it was really a process. When I've heard that, I was in Bishkek at a GameCon, and then the team was calling me and said, hey, we need to have a meeting. And then they told me, yeah, we are aware of something, what happened at Maze Sheffield. And I was like, oh my God. I was aware of something because I was a little bit of a mess that day, and then at the end I was shouting and being really, really rude and professional. So of course I came up, But then the process, because then I was feeling like a victim, blah, 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 and then the team, they want to kick me out and all this kind of stuff. It was really a nightmare. In my mind, it was, how should I be and how should I work with people again? And it was horrible. So when we wrote the statement then together, everything became a little bit more relaxed. But the month before, it was a complete disaster. I was changing from this to that. It was everywhere. It was a complete emotional roller coaster. I'm happy that I always had people around me who actually asked me how I am. And I treated some people a little bit unfair. But in the end, I also apologized there because it was kind of, wow. So, but when it was then the question, is Thorsten at the festival or not? Then I was like, I'm working here since 15 years, but I mean, this is not an excuse. You did something wrong, and this is just something that you need to get into your mind and also accept that. And I think it was just fantastic. So how the team and also the people from Wings supported us. Yeah.
You also told me that you stopped substance abuse. I mean, having an occasional beer isn't substance abuse, but you were having a little bit more of a problem and you kind of came to terms with that. Is that true?
I mean, since I'm 15 or when I stopped doing sports, then I was on a wild ride. So I enjoyed that. But of course, it changes your personality a lot. And especially in a professional environment, it's definitely not what you should be intoxicated. And the decision is definitely, I did as well, or I still do therapy and not drinking. And sometimes I cheers, but I'm not going to do binge drinking or something like that. So this is over now because I think I have a responsibility towards the team, towards my family, because I have a kid as well. Definitely it was like, okay, Thorsten, I think you have to be careful now. It's time to change. Yeah.
It's okay. I don't want to grow up and look at how old I am. Let's take a moment, and among your accomplishments was something that no one else had done, which was AMAZE in South Africa. How did AMAZE first connect with South Africa, and what led you there, and what sparked that kind of relationship?
It was a very interesting adventure. So we did a festival, I mentioned it, with Club Transmediale in 2010. And there was a DJ from South Africa at Club Transmediale, was walking around. Oh yeah, saw the exhibition. Oh yeah, this is AMAZE Interact, it was called, AMAZE Interact. And then he was going to one of our team members and said, yeah, do we have video material? Because I have a production company in Johannesburg and we work with TV channels together. Maybe this is something we can show. And she was coming to me, and then I was like, oh yeah, of course, let's send everything down there. And then they basically made 2 little episodes out of this video, what we had recorded. And then, because the moderator of this show was Pipa Chabalala, she basically was then my contact. So as well, because she was asking me some questions, and then I was like, is there a games developer community in South Africa, blah, 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 all these kind of questions. Is there maybe a university? And then she said, yeah, you definitely should get in contact with Witwatersrand University and talk to them. And of course, you can also open some doors. And that was back in 2011. And then I just remembered that I have a friend, a musician who moved to South Africa, to Johannesburg. And then I was calling him, hey, I think I want to go to Johannesburg. Can I visit you and stay maybe a month at your place? Because I want to sort something out, or maybe I want to do a festival. And then I was going down there. He was super welcoming and helped me to connect with the music scene. And I was connected in the Witwatersrand University and as well with Goethe Institute. So I had a pitch deck, went to Goethe Institute, and they had this program, New Imaginaries. And New Imaginaries were 3 lighthouse projects, and one became AMAZE Interact. So I got money to basically do the first festival with the Goethe Institute about video games. And now they are really, really pushing hard on video games around the world and also XR and everything. And 2012 was the first AMAZE festival in Johannesburg. And then we did it until 2017. And it was then becoming a little bit smaller because there's another event. It's a digital art festival. It's called Fakugesi, a wonderful thing. But somehow I was feeling like I have to protect my brand, AMAZE. and I don't want to get sucked into an umbrella event. So I pulled the plug and said, okay, I'm gonna go to Cape Town maybe. And Amaze Cape Town sounds also cool because I know the people from Free Lives, they're very good friends, and also the community there is quite big and vibrant, and it's really diverse and cool. And then I just said, okay, I don't want to go all this risk. And I was talking then to Free Lives and told them, okay, I think I can't do that. So do it yourself. Do it yourself. Create your own festival, create your own identity. And since 2018, they have Playtopia. It's a wonderful festival, wonderful, great selection of games. The community is really, really cool. And yeah, so I made this kind of introduction of doing a festival. Now they have their own festival. I'm happy. I go there and visit the festival sometimes. We also work together. Between 2018 and 19, we created a train jam. We copied the idea, what goes from Chicago to San Francisco, but we go from Johannesburg to Cape Town. It's a 30 hours train ride. And we did it twice. So 50 developers we had on the train. And they also got a ticket at Playtopia. They did hyper talks, presented their games, and it was really a cool thing. So we are still connected. Also this year we had hyper talks and a small game selection at Playtopia.
If you look at your journey so far, which of those accomplishments are the things that make you feel most true to who you are? Or have you always felt that everything has been very true?
To be honest, I was always running and I just wanted to become better in what I'm doing and exploring more possibilities and finding new ways to communicate what a maze is and also finding collaborations. But of course, the biggest accomplishment I would say is that a maze is still existing. And that I also realized that a maze can exist without me. This is also something, it's a great accomplishment for myself, a personal accomplishment that you don't have to take yourself too serious. You know? Just you can also actually can step back a little bit, you know. Of course, I mean, I want to be the front runner and I want to be the artistic director. I love it a lot being on stage and wow, yeah. But I'm also 53 and I'm just thinking right now, how can we change things that I can be more like in the background, put another artistic director there or artist director team and evolve the festival. And also that the festival basically can survive. So at the moment, it's needed that I'm there, but maybe in 5 years, there's a structure there what actually defines a new AMAZE.
When I left the Global Game Jam, it was very hard for me because I too identified myself as Global Game Jam. You know,
Mm,
I also had that feeling of this is my child. And
mm,
I
mm.
do like that I'm stepping back, but it is hard. It is really hard. So that when you see a maze in 10 years, I sure that it's not the same amaze and that it'll always be growing. And sometimes you just need fresh young
Yeah.
blood. Are
I mean, for
you
me, it's most important that AMAZE is not becoming a sellout. That AMAZE basically stays the same. It can definitely change in structure. Also, the games will change. Everything will change because technology is being fast. I don't know if people are gonna play games on a PC in 5 years, but this is something what will come, and let's see. But definitely, AMAZE should stay always positive chaos punk, having a kind of a political agenda, and also being a front runner as a festival and try to form a better industry. I mean, it always sounds kind of a better, you know, better world kind of thing, but I think Amaze had some influence into the industry, and this is something what we definitely want to work on more.
well, I know that you have. Are you doing anything right now to mentor anyone within your team to take over some of your responsibilities?
I mean, this is a process. There's nobody I can mention right now, but of course, there's a core team. Also, the structure changed a little bit so that there is a, we call it flock, 6 people surrounding me. So I always address what I want to change or what I want to do, you know, and then we have this kind of board meeting thing. And then they also check that there's a code of conduct in place and all this kind of stuff. And also because I was always like going, doing. And because Amaze is not a company where 5, 6 people work constantly with me. I'm always sitting alone, and sometimes the Amaze Berlin team doesn't know where I am, what I'm doing, what Amaze is doing. So we're gonna sort this out better. But at the moment, I would like to be artistic director. So it's definitely something I like to work on. Maybe there is a chance in the future that there is somebody on my side running with me, and maybe this person will take over. But we are talking about maybe 5 years or something. It's not going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
happen like
I'm not
immediately.
trying to get you out of
I
your
still
job,
have
but
fun, I still have fun.
so interestingly, I want to ask because you get so many diverse different projects in front of you and fall under the category of game or playful. What do you want to see more of? What are you looking for? What are the types of things that are going to excite you or excite the people that come to Amaze?
Mm. There is not something I want to see. It's more like what can I see and how can I reach out to people? I think the curation process has to become more defined in what we want. And I also had a wonderful conversation with our program manager, Surida Butter, about the program and the curation. And of course, there's always something we can add to the festival to show what is happening in the world and what is actually the community like. It's an international community. And I mean, there are also minorities we don't have on the plate. Indigenous games, all this kind of wonderful game developers we can't reach because we are not in this world. But this is something what definitely has to change to really be a festival where the world comes together. Yeah. So it's not a particular thing, It's more like I like to bring people together and that they actually can learn from each other. Because, for example, African narratives. This is something I want to have more, and that's also why Goethe Institute and AMAZE is doing now an artist in residence project called Playful Obscura, where we invite two game developers from African continent to make a residency for 3 weeks in Ghana, and they create basically art house games. But we don't want to push them into that because in Africa, you become a game developer to make money. Not everybody has the privilege to be just an artist. It's really a career they're building or a chance to be seen or making money. We don't want to force that too much, but definitely what we want to see at our festivals more is African narratives. It's very, very important. And I'm sure we are missing out a lot of other stuff as well.
Well, the whole global South, I think, is one of the
Yeah,
things that, I mean,
absolutely.
South
Absolutely.
America as well as the Pacific Islands. I think there are a lot of creators and stories available
Yeah.
that make for interesting and compelling games.
You do with your global game jam is something really incredible. How many locations you have now?
Well, we've been in over 115 countries.
Whoa.
To know that there are creators making games, thinking about play, thinking about how we interact with each other is a testament to the evolution of society. But at the same time, there's changing cultural politics, there's shifting funding models, there's AI, there's very little space for experimental and art house. And so
Mm,
I'm really feel so fortunate to know that there is someone tending to it, being that person that makes sure there's a space for it in our community. That's really
mm,
important. As we wrap up our conversation today, there's so much more, but I love the fact that you are constantly pushing and trying new things. What upcoming Amaze events or projects should people know about right now? And where can they follow you and find out more about the
mm.
festival online?
We are on all social platforms, but of course, the Amaze website, we have a-maze.net, or the festival website is amaze-berlin.de. And yeah, we are celebrating 15 years of Amaze Berlin. This is super exciting. We have our shop gallery now. It's just opened. So much stuff is going on. Also, what I definitely want to do in the future, and maybe somebody wants to help me to create a kind of an art house game archive. So really, all these wonderful games, what we had as well at the festival, so that everybody sees us on the website and having some kind of more insights, also in the teams who did the games, and maybe it's can also become in the future a distribution platform. Who knows, So
After, I'll send you a connection to someone. I have someone that could help you with that.
okay, cool. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Thorsten. You have been such a kind guest and sharing so much of the story, a little bit of your own personal growth, and of course, the growth of something that I think is now a staple in the games community. We all love attending the Amaze Festival. I think that there are opportunities for our listeners to participate, to attend, to find out more about what happens because it's not just the festival, it is a whole new approach at looking at games. And I love the fact that you are thinking about the future and the fact that we are in this creator space and we get to share these things with one another. I thank you for all of the effort that you have put forward in making a maze possible and all of the sweat and tears and time that you've done to create such an amazing experience for people. Thank you so much, Thorsten.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much for having me.
Want to get involved with the GGJ podcast? We'd love to hear from you. Please send your ideas, suggestions, and questions to ggjpod@globalgamejam.org and tell us who you think we should be talking to next, what stories or issues matter most to you about the future of games, and help us highlight the people and practices that make a sustainable creative life in games possible. Thank you for spending time with us on the GGJ podcast. If this conversation sparked something for you, please share it with someone who might find it useful. And don't forget to follow along so you never miss new stories from makers around the world. You can find more episodes, resources, and information about the Global Game Jam at globalgamejam.org. Catch us on Substack and on YouTube and anywhere else you find podcasts. This has been the GGJ podcast. Thanks for listening and keep making games.